All right, so Bad Batch episode 7 of season 2 was titled The Clone Conspiracy. And the opening shot is of Coruscant, which is sick. We haven't seen Coruscant in I don't know
Ever.
how long
Yeah.
in any Star Wars media. So it was sick to be able to see that. And then we head straight to the clone bar that we saw in Clone Wars, which I also thought was really cool.
I like they incorporated that.
Yeah, it makes sense too. I mean,
Mhm.
that's where they all went when they weren't like on duty, I guess.
Mhm.
And so we pan into two clones that are talking, and one's talking about how everything that the Empire's doing is not right, how he wants to stand up and saying he can't do this anymore, while the other clone is telling him he needs to be quiet or
Yeah.
he's going to get himself into trouble.
Yeah. One, they both understand that what happened was wrong, and they're of course talking about Camino blowing up.
Yep.
And them
and all the other
destroying it.
cities
Yeah.
that have been like bombarded and stuff, which we saw in episode 1 on Sereno. We saw that town or that city got like destroyed the same way Camino did.
So yeah, their names are Slip and
Cade. Yeah, Slip was the one with the
yeah.
beard.
Cade is the one who is worried and wants to get word out to the Senate, while Slip is the one who's more scared and doesn't want anyone to get hurt.
Yeah, it's telling him that he just needs to be quiet, basically.
Yeah.
So they head outside. They're leaving the bar. As they're approaching their bikes, Cade gets shot in the back and is killed instantly by a sniper. We only see the sniper's scope, like his reticle. Yeah. And he's shooting at Slip, but Slip is able to use one of these like swoop bikes to block the shots and then jump off the side of the railing down into the like,
very good,
for lack of a better word, street, I guess, and like ride it and fly away. Yeah, which I thought was pretty sick. That was a pretty cool like maneuver.
Awesome, yeah.
Let's see here.
We see the sniper like exit.
Sniper too, like for a second walk away.
But he has like a helmet on, so you can't really tell. My thoughts are it's a bounty hunter, obviously, and.
Yeah, I think in the very beginning of the like when you see the sniper shots, I think they wanted you to think it was Crosshair, but I instantly knew it wasn't Crosshair because he was missing some, and like Crosshair's whole thing is that he doesn't miss.
He does not miss,
so I knew the sniper or the assassin wasn't Crosshair, but the armor design too I thought was pretty cool.
It was interesting, yeah. But after Slip gets away, we go to the Senate building, right?
Senate, yeah.
Which we haven't seen that as well in a while.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything like that in forever. But they're talking about the recruitment bill in the Senate.
And we heard about that in episode 3 with the clones discussing that in the cafeteria.
Yeah. You get mentions of like the banking clan. One of the senators they said was Senator Pamlo. We see Bail Organa.
You see, I forget her name, but she's from Rogue
it's
One.
Rio. Oh, you're not talking about her.
No.
Not yet. I think that was the Pamlo. I think that was her.
All right, yeah.
I'm pretty certain.
And she's
but we
the
also
person
see
from Rogue One. So.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's the lady from Rogue One. We see Mas Amida sitting up on the like main center stand thing, I guess. And it's revealed like the Emperor doesn't attend those meetings. He just leaves the Senate to handle it.
I wonder what he's doing like instead.
I mean, he's doing his evil things he's behind the scenes with Vader and everything.
Yeah.
We see Rio Churchy. That's who I was gonna bring up. The Pantoran from Clone Wars, the episodes with the towels and everything.
Yeah.
She is the main senator who's like fighting for the clones' rights and everything.
Yep.
And Rampart's obviously against it. Him and Mas Amida are working together to like cover everything up and pass the recruitment bill and everything.
They have an argument in the Senate building about like passing the bill, and eventually it comes to a stand. Or they table
it stands still for now.
Yeah, they table it so the bill doesn't get passed yet, and Rampart walks out of the Senate building, and what his name?
Mas Amida.
Mas Amida like confronts him, and they're all angry and
they're talking behind the scenes and everything.
And Rampart gets threatened, so you see then them pan out, and then Churchy goes to the bar and is talking to the clones and trying to win over them. So, because she's trying to fight for them, because they have rights. So, like, she wants them to.
She understands that they're people too, so they deserve like representation in the Senate, just like anyone else would.
And some of them are hesitant about it. They're like,
they were just soldiers. That's all they're good at. Yeah.
But then they eventually come to realize, like, they're also people.
They decide they got nothing to lose. They might as well just cooperate with her. And she actually meets Slip there too. And Slip reveals the truth about Kamino and stuff to Senator Chuchi.
You could say Slip slipped him her information.
Okay, now is not the time for the dad jokes. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
They Slip tells her the information about Kamino, and then he like gets away because it's very dangerous. And
he's just trying to fly under the radar, basically. He tells Chuchi to look at his records with his CT number, which was 0409. Don't think that'll come back to play, but I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. And then she walks off, and she's going back to
meet with Rampart.
Yeah, meet with Rampart about the
demands.
Yeah. And now with this,
which he agrees to.
Yeah. So. In the meeting, he's very like agreeing, and he's very smart.
Nonchalant, I mean, just like sure, whatever.
Yeah, he just wants to get the bill passed, but like he obviously can tell that Churchy knows something's up by the way she's acting.
Oh yeah. Like, she gets a little confrontational with him and talking about, like, questioning what happened on Kamino and everything. Yeah. Like, where he was, how did he survive.
And she walks away, like, they're both, like, suspicious. And,
yeah, obviously.
And all this while, Churchy's, like, trying to search for this clone with, like, the number.
Yeah.
And then I believe we get the scene where Slip is, like, contacting somebody to try to get out off world, and at the time we don't know who it is.
No. And then we're only there and see him do that for like a second or two, and then we cut back to Chuchi, who meets up with Bail Organa, and they're discussing the same stuff. It's a lot of just like people discussing behind each other's backs and everything.
We saw that in Andor. There's a lot of that too.
Yes. It's very like it's like the rebellion kind of starting to brew and everything, so it makes sense, like spy kind of stuff and everything. Then after Bail and Chuchi talk a little bit and discuss everything with Kamino and what's happening, and they need people to testify and whatnot, Chuchi tells him that they're looking for Slip. They want to find Slip and help him get to the Senate building to testify. And then we cut to Rampart in his office, and he's talking to the assassin through a hologram, telling him that he not only wants the assassin to kill Slip, but he wants the assassin to kill Chuchi.
Yeah.
Which I think is weird, because he says, make sure it can't be brought back to me. But I feel like if she would have died, it would have been very obvious who did it, because she was the one opposing him the most.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that with like senators. They kill whoever's talking back, and no one seems to question it. So
yeah, I've always felt like I feel like it's kind of obvious, guys. Like,
I think it is obvious, but it's also, it just like brings more fear to other people.
Yeah, and I guess you can have all the suspicions you want, but if you can't actually prove anything, then it doesn't matter. Nothing can happen.
After that scene, it cuts over to Slip like sneaking his way through the alley.
Yeah, saying he's ready again into his comm link.
And we hear the clone for like a second, and then one of Churchy's guards walks the corner, and Churchy and
reveals that they found him.
Yeah, Churchy and Slip have like a little discussion about safety and how like they're in danger. And
and that Slip's word won't be able to do anything. Yeah. And he reveals that what can actually deal damage to Rampart is the Venator logs, ship logs, that has the evidence that they destroyed Kamino. Because like, even though Slip says he was on the ship, like, his word won't be enough. They need physical proof.
Which then after that, Slip like walks back, and right after he says that, he gets shot.
And gets shot in the back. Yeah. Dead.
I knew that was gonna
hey, again, more random clones that got names to just get
both of
killed.
those clones just dead.
Not only him, but one of the guards also gets sniped. Like
one of the
back
guards
to back,
sniped,
Slip and one of the guards.
And then this other guard is like, I like this other guard. He was
actually like pretty resilient. Like he actually was competent and did a good job. I feel like being a bodyguard.
He ran off with.
I mean, he eventually died too, but he does protect Chuchi for a little bit.
But yeah, he dies. Churchy gets away, and well, she doesn't get away. She escapes up some stairs, but then she sees some figure in like the smoke. And she like trips and falls and is just laying there. But then that mysterious figure in the smoke shoots a stun blast behind her, which hits the assassin and knocks him out. And then, lo and behold, it's revealed to be our beloved Captain Rex. Who's here to save the day. And that was so convenient that he was there at that moment. I mean, that was really cool.
Yeah, I love seeing Rex. Rex is my favorite clone. I know he's a lot of other people's favorite clones, so it was sick to see him. He worked with Senator Chuchi in the Clone Wars in those missions, or the episodes with the Tals. Yeah, so they already knew each other. I mean, she knew him immediately. She said Captain Rex.
Yeah.
So,
and we find out that Rex was the one who Slip was contacting about getting out of there.
Yeah,
that's why
makes sense. I mean. In season 1 of Bad Batch, Rex talked about how he wanted to help other clones and everything.
Yeah.
And right before the episode ends, they walk over to the assassin. Rex undoes his helmet, and it is revealed to be another clone. Just a basic, random clone.
He doesn't find a number on him, so you can't tell which clone this is, which was really interesting. So
yeah. And that kind of, we'll talk more about that in the next episode too. Tech like comments on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But they try to interrogate him. He won't say anything. The clone has a very like cold demeanor.
Yeah.
And then he kills himself.
Right after saying, "I believe" or something along those lines.
Yeah, that he's a believer.
He's a believer.
That makes him a believer. Like basically a believer in the Empire. You know, like a radical kind of.
I think I have a prediction that he just has like some modified chip in him.
Maybe he might.
I don't know. Or he's like Crosshair and just does not.
Just super like in love with the Empire. Yeah. I did notice though the thing he like bites down on that kills him is the same thing the officer used in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's like that's a
Bo-Katan episode.
That's a common way for people.
It's kind of like our world's like cyanide pill. You know, people bite that and it like kills you instantly. It's kind of like that. So I thought that was interesting.
But then it pans out, and that's end of the episode.
Cuts to black. Yep.
Yeah.
It's just the end. And I do want to point out too. Yeah. The music in both of these episodes was really good.
Oh yeah.
Very good, like Star Wars music.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
We'll rate this episode first. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I gave it a 9 as well. Yeah. I thought it was very good. While it's not as actiony, and usually that's what I enjoy the most. Like I love the episodes where I'm jumping up in my chair, like kind of crazy action.
I mean, I jumped up when I found out it was a clone. So
I didn't, but I was interested, but I didn't do that. But I still give it such a high score because of the world aspect, the world building, the storytelling. Like action is important to me, but so is the story. Like, so if you have a great story, even if there's not a ton of action in this specific episode, like I still really enjoy it. Like,
and seeing more of the Senate and like it operate and all these like in the alley, like discussing behind backs and that's
very cool. Espionage kind of thing. And I've seen firsthand from other projects, both in Star Wars and not in Star Wars, where they've had a ton of awesome action, but the story was so bad that I hated the show. And we won't say any names, but I feel like we know what we're talking about. So that's. Storytelling is
key,
almost more important at the end of the day. So
all right, that's end of that episode. We move on to episode 8.
Truth and Consequences.
And
we were right too. Like this was basically a part 1 and a part 2. We talked about that a little bit off camera.
We'll say there is no Crosshair.
True. kind of sucks.
Kind of sucks. Only one episode with Crosshair.
One episode with Crosshair this whole season so far. We're halfway through. Like, what's? I thought the storylines are definitely starting to intersect between Bad Batch and like the Empire stuff. But like, where's Crosshair?
We'll catch up.
I don't understand.
Eventually. I mean,
I hope so, but it's just kind of weird.
But so we start off with Omega meditating, from what Gunji taught her.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool to see.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
she does say that it doesn't work for her like it does for him, but of course he's force sensitive. So yeah, and after Omega talks about meditating and everything, we see that Rex is contacting the Bad Batch, and he has a covert mission for them, and it's just a simple data extraction, is what he says. But he talks about how it's on Coruscant, and Hunter immediately is very like hesitant, being like, "Whoa, that's the heart of the Empire."
Everyone else really wants to go though. Like Wrecker's like, "I don't want to do these Sid jobs anymore."
Yeah.
And Echo, being Echo, doesn't like wants to do more in general.
No, yeah, he wants to fight and everything. Yeah. He's the one that actually decides like we'll be there kind of thing. So I think that's really interesting, and that comes into play later. And we'll talk about that. But so they go to Coruscant. They meet up on the like lower levels. Rex shows them the sniper's body and talks again about how the number was erased, and Tech and them say like, I didn't even know that was possible. And I wonder how they did that. Like, I wonder if we'll learn how did they erase his number completely.
That is very interesting, and there might be more out there.
Bizarre
of that same.
But yeah, there probably is, almost guaranteed. I doubt they would just do it to one.
Yeah,
but.
And
they talk about how they need the Venator's logs in the shipyard, because Rampart's ship is in the shipyard right there on Coruscant. Kind of convenient, but kind of makes sense because Rampart's there. So,
and then they devise a plan. They split up with Chuchi and Omega going together, and the rest off to infiltrate the Venator to get the plans. And
one thing I will say, Chuchi, when she takes Omega into the Senate building, she talks to Rampart right there. I don't remember. Did Rampart never see Omega? Because I feel like he should have recognized Omega. You know? Like,
I feel like he had to have seen her. Maybe he was too focused on Churchy, and then in the background you saw
Mass Amida come up.
Yeah. So
that's true. He never directly looks at Omega, but like I also feel like it would be very obvious that it's her. Like she didn't have anything on her face, so.
Yeah, and she was.
I don't know.
At him, so.
Maybe he never did, but it's hard for me to believe that like that whole time he was pursuing the Bad Batch, he never saw like a hologram of Omega or anything.
Maybe.
And they constantly talked about needing Omega for the blood and everything. So, like.
Well, whatever.
It's kind of weird. Yeah. It's just kind of, I don't know. Maybe there's some explanation that I'm just unaware of, but it kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah. And then after they're in the Senate building, and after Rampart goes up to talk to
Amida.
Yeah. I don't remember, where do they go to? There's
they meet up with Bale.
Bale. Oh yeah, Bale. All right, yeah. They meet up with Bale.
They're just talking more about that.
And they talk about how Churchy and Omega should go meet up with the former senator
for Camino.
Yeah, for Camino.
Haley Bertoni.
It's hard to pronounce it. Yeah.
I think that's how you say it. But was actually in the Clone Wars too. We see her. She's an old like Caminoan woman, and you see her in some of the Clone Wars episodes.
And apparently
so they meet up with her.
From Senate, which was strange.
Oh, yeah. They kicked her out.
Yeah.
Chuchi meets up with the Caminoan senator, and they talk more about how they need her to testify, because now that Slip's dead, they need somebody to do something and stand up against the Empire. They need to stop this recruitment bill. And as that's going on, Rex, the Bad Batch, sneak into the shipyard, and then they're trying to sneak onto the ship. And I thought that was really cool.
It's really cool to see all the clones, just like operating normally.
Yeah, just going through. I actually did notice, like one of the dog creatures that the Tusken Raiders sometimes have, and then we saw them in Clone Wars too. The clones using them some. I saw a couple of those walking around, like on leashes. Yeah, I
didn't catch that.
I didn't research before, so I didn't. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And they're so they go through, I believe, the top side of the Vener.
Yes.
And they go through there. They meet not a lot of clones on board until they get to the bridge.
Yeah, just a couple that they knock out. Yeah.
And they get on the bridge and they realize they have to convert power, which will trigger like an alarm.
It'll let the Empire know that something's happening.
But they still do it, and then
they have to. It's their only choice. So technically, or like transferring the logs, while the rest of them try to hold off the clones that come in the hallway, like breach the door. And that was cool. That was like the little bit of action I was kind of talking about. I enjoyed watching.
And then they get to the escape pods, because always something has to.
You always got to get to the escape pods.
You always have to escape, no matter if you're in space or you're on ground. You got to escape through the escape pod. And they shoot out, and then Tech diverts it like to a different direction, so they shoot over the troops, over to like I think a tunnel. Yeah,
back to I'm not sure if it's exactly the same tunnel that they came up through, but it basically like it shoots them back into safety. And they're able to get out and just escape back down into the tunnel from which they came, which was cool. I enjoyed seeing that too.
And then we see Chuchi,
in the Senate,
arguing about the bill with Rampart.
With Rampart, and she's kind of confronting him and saying like the accusations against him and everything, saying that maybe he's the one who actually destroyed Kamino on purpose and all of that. They have the
murmuring, and everyone's
suspicious. They have Kamino's senator like kind of testify. She doesn't directly say anything, but she's there, and like Chuchi keeps saying like you directed funds away and everything.
And he's
and then
back.
right as
Right as they're about to vote. Right as they're about to vote, Omega shows up with the data, gives it to Organa. Organa gives it to one of the guards, and they plug it in. I thought like something was gonna go wrong. Personally, I thought like
I did too. I'm shocked it actually worked out. And I genuinely didn't expect this to work out.
And it displays a huge hologram of just the video of the vendor destroying.
I didn't know the logs did that either. I didn't know that the logs could show that kind of the
angle, third person view.
Yeah, like I thought it was really cool, but I didn't think it would show that kind of perspective. I just thought it would show like, hey, they were at Kamino at this time, and like the guns were fired and everything like this. I didn't think there would be an actual recording of like the bombardment.
And so this played, and it's just mission complete. Everyone's gonna win, right?
Everyone's
clones are safe now, because they have proof it's all fraud. But then the bottom of the Senate building opens up, and out comes Emperor Palpatine.
The music too. I know I already brought up the music, but like the ominous music, it was so good.
Yeah. Out comes Emperor Palpatine, and he's like, this just came to me. Rampart's a traitor, like along those lines, like arrest him.
They arrested him. They actually arrested him. I mean, they said there would be punishment. I wonder if they're gonna kill him.
Yeah. And then Emperor Palpatine like is so smart and flips it around onto the clones.
Twists it. He twists the truth to turn it. Yeah.
And onto the clones' fault, because they like blindly just
follow the orders.
And then now he's like saying we should pass the new stormtrooper bill, and like it's like that's very smart of him to do.
It's so smart. Also, it's Ian McDermott's voice, so I love that he came back to voice the Emperor. It's so great when he actually does the voice.
Yes.
I just loved it. I loved everything about it. He's so like, he's just so smart, and he's so like evil, and it's just his whole speech for change was just really cool to listen to. And like, I think it's really cool how he's like, the bill should be passed to create, and then it's really like focused on these words like Imperial Stormtrooper, and it's like this is the official creation. This is the official start of the Imperial Stormtrooper.
That was really cool to see. And
it's just really cool.
This is really story like going like we wanted a episode that would advance the story and like show us what happened.
These definitely did it. Both of them.
These definitely did it. Yeah. And then Rampart, while he's getting arrested, he like is trying to like yell like I was ordered.
Yeah, I was just following orders and everything.
I don't know if anyone heard
Which I mean, even if they did, I don't think they'd believe him at that point. But it's true. I mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
As we, the viewer, know, Palpatine is behind everything.
Yeah. But that was really cool to see.
It's just crazy. Yeah. I just loved it, and the animation was cool. Seeing Palpatine, his like Sith eyes and everything under the hood, like
it was a really
it's just so cool.
I was thrown back because I had no idea that was gonna happen.
No, I remember seeing him for a split second in the trailer, but I didn't think anything was
during the episode.
I didn't think anything of that substantial. Yeah. So yeah.
And so, I guess they lost now. The whole bill is like thrown apart, and they're gonna like the clones are now gonna.
They're gonna pass it. The clones are screwed, basically.
And the Bad Batch is back in the garage in the under levels with Rex and Churchy. And they're like all sad and stuff. And
yeah, Churchy's saying that she's gonna continue to fight for the clones.
There's not much more she can really do though.
No, but she's gonna try. Like, I mean, what else is she gonna do? She can't really be like, oh, see you guys. Like, she's gonna try, and so is Rex. Rex is gonna continue what he's doing, trying to like help work with clones and everything, which leads into
and apparently
we find out Echo.
Yeah.
Off screen somehow, somewhere, him and Rex decided that they were gonna go off together. So Echo's gonna go with Rex and leave the Bad Batch, at least for now.
That threw me off when like they started saying goodbye to him and like
Omega's all confused,
saying the same thing as Omega's saying like.
Wait, what?
I'm like saying the same thing as Omega's saying like, what? What do you mean bye? What do you mean this?
Yeah. And they had a nice little emotional moment, but I gotta say, like, it makes sense that he's going off with Rex. I mean, this whole season, basically, he's been talking about how he wants to fight and do more, and now he has a chance too. So it makes sense. But now we only have Wrecker, Tech, Hunter, and Omega.
I wonder if we'll see him again.
I don't know.
In this season.
I don't know. I hope so. I hope he's not just gone. Yeah.
We have to have some closure because we don't see him in like Rebels when Rex is really old.
Yeah, he would be with Rex, if you would think. So you'd think all these guys would be with Rex and Wolf and Gregor in Rebels. So it makes me think that they're not gonna make it to Rebels. Yeah. But I don't know. I had a quick question for you before we give our ranking for this episode. With all the plot development and like the bigger picture of Star Wars, what do you think the chances are, since Rampart's now like out of commission, and I doubt Crosshair will like stay evil forever. I think he'll turn eventually. What do you think the possibility of Vader or like Inquisitors coming in the picture are?
Inquisitors, no,
because it's too early.
Inquisitors are Jedi killers. I mean, Vader would be like assigned to this type of mission. Like, Inquisitors are purely for Jedi. Vader's assigned to like Jedi and like special assignments like this.
True. Right? Yeah.
So
I want Vader personally.
There might come a point where Vader comes with like his troops, but Inquisitors.
Because I think if things get too bad, it would make sense. Like, okay, the Emperor sends the one guy he can rely on to like clean things up.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't see Inquisitors doing anything else but hunting Jedi.
Yeah, and they're mostly in Rebels. I feel like it's a little too early for that. Like, I've read some of the canon Vader comics too, and they kind of have a little bit of a time jump. I don't feel like the Inquisitor program would be like
there yet,
created fully yet, at least like organized.
Yeah.
So I would love to see Vader. I hope so. Mm-hmm. Like, and if we see Vader, some of the Bad Batch are dying, 100%.
Oh yeah.
No way they all make it out.
I mean, I'd be surprised if any of them do. So.
Yeah, I think at least a couple of them
maybe
would
Omega.
probably like maybe Omega and
yeah.
like if they ended the season with Vader coming in and like killing all of them as Omega escapes, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy. But then no season 3.
True, but I mean it's got to stop somewhere because like we said, like they're not in anything else.
They're getting that point in the timeline too, where it'd be like
there's too many different groups coming on. Like where it would get to the point where it doesn't make sense that they're still alive because they would help in this other stuff.
I believe you're right. Either they die or they go off to like quote unquote hiding forever and like live their life
forever. Yeah.
But I don't believe they would be doing that anyway, because like when Rebellion comes along, they would have to be fighting in that.
Yeah, I don't think they would go in hiding forever. I think it would only logically make sense if they eventually like sacrifice themselves for Omega or something. Because Omega, I can see us like running into again, but because she's still a kid, so it makes sense she's not involved in all the other stuff.
I don't think Disney can like kill a kid on TV. So
true. Yeah. That's true too. So.
But yeah, that was the episode.
What did you rank this?
I ranked this a 10 for obvious reasons.
10. Dang. I ranked it a 9, just like the other one. I still liked the episode 3 more, like the 10 out of 10. That's because it had the story aspect and the action. But like, by any means, this is not bad. Like, I think a 9 is just my personal preference.
Yeah.
But a 10 really has to be up there for me. Like a 10 really has to like get my attention.
Yeah. So. This really got my attention because first of all, you have the action from infiltrating the vendor. Second, you have all the Senate stuff, which I love to see, as I said in the last episode. And third, you have Emperor Palpatine and a huge plot twist.
Palpatine stuff is like
huge plot twist. It ties in together with the whole story of like Star Wars, and you really get to see like that advancement, and that's why it makes me a 10, because it's like this is what happened to make the stormtroopers.
No, I get you 100%. It's close. It's up there for me for sure, but I just I just give it a 9. I don't know why.
I mean, Echo leaving at the end, that just is
true.
Crazy.
I like the little emotional moment with him and Omega. I thought that was cool. So.
But those are the episodes.
Yeah, that's the episode. That's our little breakdown review. Double episode drop today.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. So.
We're thinking of doing what ifs on Saturdays, every other Saturday.
Yeah, every other Saturday. We're talking about doing what ifs. So if you guys would be interested in that, let us know, 1, if you would like to see that, and then 2, if you guys have any requests or ideas that you'd like us to take into consideration, let us know too.
Please we'll subscribe. That helps us out like crazy. We're very small right now, but with your help, we can become bigger. And yeah, I mean, that's it. See you guys.
That's it. See ya.